Hello and bonjour. Welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. It's been a while since I've uploaded any videos for Hearts of Iron, but this latest expansion, the La Resistance, has kind of inspired me to play it once again after a year or so. So I hope this will be an enjoyable series. I'm playing as France, and looking through the new focus tree, I decided to try playing as staying democratic, but it was interesting to me that through this route you could actually ally with Italy, then form the Stresa Front faction. And looking at the history of the Stresa Front, apparently it was a kind of a coalition between early in the 1930s between Britain, France, and Italy to try to contain Germany. Unfortunately, it kind of fell apart relatively quickly. But through those focuses, you can kind of try to rebuild it and see how it goes. So I thought that could make an interesting game, and so I set up some of the other countries to go through their focuses. The German Reich will actually go try to restore the Kaiser, and through some test games it should, and I set Hungary to try to restore Austria-Hungary, the Austria-Hungary Empire. And through the test games, they would generally ally together with Germany. And so they should hopefully make a kind of large bloc to fight against. And as well, with Italy going through its focus trees, it would, I think, typically fight against the UK. I think, it would have to require Italy first, but yeah, generally go to war with Greece. Anyways, but the way I'm having it set up, like when I first would play through it, Britain would not accept, but Italy would, and so France and Italy would join together into a faction. And I thought this would be interesting because then we could attack the United Kingdom in the Middle East, and perhaps we could puppet or release some of the African colonies, and then we'd have to fight Germany and Britain. Occasionally I found that Britain would accept, and then we'd kind of have this large faction with all of Britain's subjects. And so if that happens, I'll probably end up kicking the British out just so we could end up fighting them. But I'm hoping that this will turn out to be an interesting game and not just kind of bogged down into a stalemate. Like I did notice that by going fascist in France, you kind of end up with the same story. You could form the Latin Entente with Italy and Spain and Portugal, and so then that kind of forms into a similar faction, and then we fight Britain and France, I believe. But I wanted to play as France, and I thought this could be interesting, so let's get started. So here we have our research. We only have 3 slots. So I wanted to try to, this is one of the few times I'm playing as a major, so I figured, okay, I'll have enough industry to be able to make, have a decent tank force, have a decent air force, and possibly try to even build up my navy. Although I'm a bit concerned about taking on Britain, I'll probably just try to focus at least early on just building up a bunch of naval bomber force. But I wanted to start off researching the heavy tanks so I could fit them into the tank battalions or divisions. And so getting the research bonus is always advantageous early. And then I'll grab the construction one just so, because I'm planning to start building a bunch of civilian factories. So we'll start building them in the dense areas here. And I do want to build up the infrastructure a little bit just to get those, because then you get the build bonus more. So and then we do have some extra, so I'll start getting those to that. And I don't know if yeah, I'll start the naval bomber. I'm not, probably won't focus too much on the naval side, at least in the beginning. I'll probably try to build it up as best I can, but I don't have too much faith in our navy right now. And so looking at the French focus tree, it's a lot more expanded. We can now zoom out so we can see it all. Here is kind of our industrial branch. We can go down and develop France itself, and then as well in our colonies, or can't think of the word, occupied territories. There we go. Okay, and here is basically our army. We can't start this off right away until there's higher war support, I guess. But we should be able to build that up. Well, with the Spanish Civil War, it usually kicks it up enough that we can get this. But there are a bunch of branches that I want to get down, so this will probably be a while. And just the way I'm thinking of it, I'll probably go down the defensive focus into firepower kills here, just because this is kind of how I want to develop the army, with artillery and heavy tanks. And so this will give us some good bonuses towards that. And I am curious to see what these new units, it might give us a unique division template for that. I am curious about how the air dominance, because it gives us like production cost bonuses, and ground attack bonuses. But I have tried, I'm not sure how much effect air power does have in the ground war. I know you get your air superiority bonuses, but I'm not sure how much the ground attack bonus goes. This would be the communist route here, and it is quite a substantial tree. It is curious. I'm going down. It'd be interesting to see how this goes down, where you can actually set up revolutions in nearby countries like Britain and Spain and Germany, even, I think. To the east, yeah, Germany, Spain, and Italy. This little branch is kind of interesting. This can develop or expand our manpower pool, so we'll be looking at this. And then this is kind of the everything else branch. It's kind of odd, but the democracy route goes down here, because this has not completed the invite communist ministers and has not completed the utilize the league routes. So, and then down here, this is pretty much the. Actually, I'm not sure where the historical route. I imagine it goes down here and with Britain, but here's also the little Entente. You can ally with Poland, but this is also the route where we can ally with Italy. And then here, there's a little bit more to help our industry and economy, because France starts off with a lot of penalties from after World War I. Here is our I imagine the fascist route, and so it gives you a couple different routes. And then here is quite popular right now, the monarchist route, and where you reinstate the monarchy. And then here we have our naval branch and our Air Force branch, which are pretty small. But again, we'll want to maybe have a look at them. It gets us from dockyards and research bonuses. But for the first time, or at least for our first focus I want to take is this first one for our industry or economy. Devalue the franc. So while other countries allowed their currencies to become less valuable to help their economies, we have steadfastly refused to do so. As a result, our economy is lagging behind others. If we want to become more competitive and weather the coming storm, we must not diminish or dismiss a devaluation of our currency out of hand, even if it would prove to be an unpopular measure. So for 1 year or 365 days, we'll require less consumer good factories, so that's actually a bonus, but our stability will take a little bit of a hit. But we want to get this out of the way, just so we can boost our stability back up, and then we can continue down the industry route. So start that. Okay, we don't have any divisions in training, but since we are lacking in most of our equipment, we'll probably not do that for a while. And then we have all of our armies here, so I'll group all the ones in mainland here. We have several mountaineer divisions, put those in a unique troop. We have several motorized divisions, and I want to put those into a group with our tank divisions, so we can kind of have this mobile force. And there's also, France has 2 tank division templates, one with just tanks, and then one with kind of this Légère Mécanique, which has tanks and trucks. So we'll find both of these interesting. This one, the Char de Combat, we'll edit to put our heavy tanks into it. This will be our main breakthrough force, hopefully. And we'll leave this one for faster reconnaissance, or more like a cavalry unit. We have a bunch of infantry ones. We have the Division d'Infanterie, Division Coloniale, and Brigade Coloniale. We'll keep all of these. I want to edit this one just to change the symbol so we can differentiate them. It's still fairly beefy template, even with artillery attached. This one is pretty much the same, actually, I guess, but we can develop. And then this one is just a smaller colonial division. We'll change this to the knight as well, just to keep those the same. Now we still have 36, so yeah, I wanted to take the cavalry. I do believe, yeah, we have a few of those. Put them into there. And what I'll actually do here, I'll just split these. Alright, so take this one. There's some colonial brigades, but that's alright. And I'll put this on our main border with Germany. Alright, and then give them I just want to give them a small... Here will, because this river will block on some of the territory, and if we ever do go to war with Germany eventually, you know, I don't like just having a broad division plan. I like to kind of try to plan them out. I kind of wish you could have it in stages where you could have one set and then just put like a second one. Not sure if that's kind of similar to that, but all right. And then we have, okay, there, and then this one. I'm going to put this on garrison on the coastline because I know, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll go to war with Britain. I actually, they're going to stay democratic, but I set them on the no appeasement route, so they might be more aggressive. They're going to typically attack Iraq and Iran, and so I'm not sure exactly how that'll work out. As I said, in usually my test games, we end up at war with them, so I just want to defend my coastline, because I know in a lot of games, if I don't defend against, you know, seaborne invasion, I'll be distracted with somewhere else. I look back my territory, and then there's this big invasion coming. So these fellows, I'm actually going to send them to Syria, because I'm kind of hoping the Middle East will be one of our main combat regions. So I'm also going to grab all of these, put them into a armies, basically a North African army. I'll actually put them into a new theater. These guys too. Yeah. This will be North Africa. This will be home defense theater. All right, so I'll get army. I guess I'll put these guys on. Not necessarily there. Put them on garrison duty. Then we also have these fellows here. And I'm not sure what to do. I might just give up our territory here. I'll put this China, and then we also have a couple stray I'll just let them go there. They don't really need I'm not quite sure what to do with those. I might just disband them. But all right, and also, so back in our home defense here, we got those guys. These guys, for now, I'll just put them on the Italian border. Hopefully we'll become allies with Italy, and then we have these guys. Now, kind of an idea I came up with while I was playing is to have the just a small couple of fallback lines along here, just because unless you have a huge garrison force, you can't really defend the whole coastline here, so they will break through. And so by having just a small fallback line, it keeps some of my divisions nearby that I can quickly put them on a front around the invasion point. So I have gotten used to having just a small fallback line nearby where I want kind of a quick reaction force. So I'll put those there just so they have an order. Okay, and then looking at most of our generals, they're mostly the defensive kind. Oh, this guy's a good cavalry. Might have to put him, actually, there. It's a small group now, but I can eventually maybe add in some mechanized units to this. Wait a minute. Oh, where did I put them then? Whoops. Darn it. I'll armor officer. Why are all of our armor officers actually? I like Philippe Leclerc for. What? Dang it. This is not working out well. Okay. Okay, I'll just put him there. Get a leader there. Put Leclerc with our armor. Okay. Infantry officer. Oh, mountaineer. Okay, so he can be in charge of our mountain force. This is our North African Defense Force. Okay, and this will be our Syrian. Once we move it over there, this will be our Syrian Defense Force. And since hopefully that'll be one of our major. Okay, so this will be our Grand National Army. This is our Southern Operations Detachment, because it's not really a full army. This will be our Mobile Reaction Force. Okay, and then this is our Coastal Defense, right? Right? I think so. Okay, so once we set up time, then I'll go. Okay, so we can make sure everybody's going where they need to. Those guys are just there.
Attention.
Fellow. Where's his? No. Oh, he's
Attention.
not in a force actually. Okay, so you're down there. Put him on here. Oh, and then okay, where's our cavalry then?
Attention.
Okay, they're slowly getting there. Okay, so going on 5 speed, and we get to see how things will turn out. We also have some of our decisions here. I'm not sure. We probably won't do anything with the naval treaties. I'm not planning to build any large navies. We have our standard political ones here. I might do promises of peace. I won't have these come up because I don't really find them do exactly like we won't have much of a problem with fascism. We might need some anti-communist stuff. We can prospect for resources in some of our areas. We don't really need it. We might lose Tonkin, that's in Indochina, and I'm not sure if we'll need much aluminum. We have like a fair amount in France itself, so, and I'm not sure what this dismantle the Maginot Line exactly does. I suppose if you conquer Germany, you might not need it, and so it gives you a land fort speed construction bonus for 6 months. So if you want to build a new set, I suppose somewhere else, you can dismantle the Maginot Line and build a new one. But I'm not quite sure what that'll do. Realize European unity if we want to basically conquer basically Western Europe. We can get cores on all of it, but we probably won't do that. Okay, so as I said, I've set the Germany to go down the monarchist route. So they've started a civil war, and we finished our first focus. So we got to value the franc and allow us to go through these. But at least at the beginning, I'll probably alternate between our political focuses here and our industrial focuses. So for now, I'm going to do this. Revive the national bloc. The political landscape is growing more and more radical by the day. The left whispers of making common cause with the communists. What is needed now is strong, stable leadership. So this is basically the anti-communist route there. Germany embroiled in civil war. Sudden Wehrmacht coup led by the famed Field Marshal August von Mackensen has triggered a civil war in Germany early this morning. Fascists, royalists, and Democrats alike have taken up arms against their former countrymen. Military units have been removed from the borders to see to the internal threat. Fascists, under orders of Hitler, have already vowed to destroy the nation rather than see it fall to treasonous Germans. Kind of, especially with this Strasse front route, if you go down it, or if you have it kind of set the right way, you can trigger an early war with Germany, because not only do you ally with Italy, you also guarantee Austria. Now, I'm not sure if that'll change if they accept the Anschluss or not. It's possible they just accept the Anschluss anyways, but the one time I saw it triggered, Germany attacked Austria, and so since we are guaranteeing them, it brought us into an early war with Germany, which could be interesting. But since I kind of want to play the longer game, I want to kind of delay World War II at least till later, maybe 1940 or 41. So I decided to have them go the monarchist route, so they won't attack Austria. But okay, we also finished our first tech. So I'll grab the basic machine tools. Another common. Okay, so these are just our separate divisions in Africa here. Which honestly, I might as well. No, I'll leave them around for now. Okay, so the naval conference is about to trigger. Usually doesn't really cause any consternation. Italy or Japan might abandon it, but it's not going to affect us too much. Okay, so we've seen everybody split up. These guys are guarding the coast, and I probably should defend the western coast here, but if Britain does invade, it's usually along the channel. Okay, so everybody signed the peace treatment. This is a kind of random event with our elections here. Public demands rearmament. Okay, so this sometimes it's just with the communists or the fascists. But the ongoing war approaching our borders has loomed over the upcoming election, with many voters being concerned that France is not prepared for being thrown into this conflict or whatever may arise from it. They demand we increase our precautions and ensure that our nation is ready for war. While the majority still support Parti Radical, we may lose them to more radical elements if we don't alleviate their apprehensions. So we can either switch to early mobilization, which is nice. Gives us a lot of, gets us out of civilian economy, or we can lose stability. So it's really no choice here. We want to move to early mobilization. Now this will only stay in early mobilization as long as we have enough war support. If we lose much war support, I think if it goes below 12, they'll want to switch it back to civilian economy. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So we finished our next focus, revive the national bloc. So we have a choice. We have here banned communism. I'm not sure exactly what this political violence flag is for. I'm sure it just triggers on certain events, but I'm not sure if removing it is necessarily a priority for us right now. We have this choice, but as I said, I'm going to be switching back. Oh, well, now we can actually begin rearmament. But I want to switch back and develop our industries here. So I'm actually first going to get this one for the autoroute, which increases our infrastructure in a few provinces, and this will mainly help us increase our build speed, which is what we want to work on early on here. The Germans have awed the world with their concept of limited access, high-speed roads connecting the various parts of their country. We can show the world that we can do just as well. Now, I know some people might not think that infrastructure is necessarily the best to increase unless you want to focus on resource gain, but I think the bonuses to build speed, if you do it early enough, because infrastructure just takes like about a month, I think, to develop. Okay, we've also got our construction bonuses and our tanks, so we got a couple of researches finished. Now, until we get rid of some our victors of the Great War, we won't be able to really work on our land doctrines, so we'll have to we can't do that, but we can work on our planes. So I want to get modern airplanes here, and here we can't get our industry developed yet, but I always do like getting the synthetic refineries, because I do like being kind of self-sufficient, and since we're a major country, we should be able to build a few of them, so we won't have to trade for as much oil. So, actually, I might have wanted to wait for one of the research bonuses, but oh well. Getting that as early as possible can help us out. So, we actually have 25 civilian factories working. So, we should be able to get these civilian factories built relatively quick. Oh yeah, where's our horses? We can move them. I'm sure there's probably an easier way, but well, I'll wait till they get there.
Gardez vos rangs.
Can have him actually get into there. So now I can just put you on the border there. Okay, basic machine tools is done, and now we can select one of these. And I think they've gotten to a point where it's actually an interesting choice between these, because they both have different bonuses. And so, depending on what you want, it's actually become a bit of a choice. So I usually often pick dispersed industries because they give that production efficiency base bonus. So whenever you start up a new production line, or change or upgrade it to a new technology, or replace an old technology with a new one, like upgrading your fighters or your tanks or your guns or whatever, it'll start at a higher point than before. And so I thought it was increase speed, or increase efficiency rate where it increases faster, but I guess not. Whereas this one, it just increases factory output. So this one, it's kind of interesting because this is kind of more of a short term than the concentrated, which is more of a long term, because this, once you get up to 100%, it doesn't give you anything extra, whereas this will give you an extra 5% over this, which gives factory output 10%. This is 15%. But once you get up to 100% efficiency, this doesn't give you anything more than this does, whereas this gives you an extra 5%. I hope this isn't too confusing. But so in the short term, this will give you more production than, whereas this in the long term, once you get up to 100% efficiency, this will give you more production. So I'm actually, as France here, I'm going to pick concentrated, just because I'm kind of planning for more for the long term. I'm not planning to do any like early quick wars unless Italy drags me into some. But I'm not planning, at least until 39 or 40, to get into a war. So hopefully I can get my efficiency up to high enough that where the extra production that this concentrated gives will be more of a bonus. I hope that isn't too complicated. Okay, so we got to get
Attention.
all of these guys onto there. Yeah, sometimes I can't quite explain my thought process well enough, but hopefully it might be better, if anybody questions it, I can explain it in text, because I can think better, when I'm not put on the spot. Okay, so Italy has taken over Ethiopia. So that's down there. And I think basically to join up with Italy, we have to give up this Djibouti, French Somaliland, or no, Djibouti's up here. Qatar. It's one of these small territories. But okay, we finished our autoroute, so now we can. Now these two choices, it's either civilian factory construction speed gets a bonus, or you get the research bonuses for Italy or industry. And it says our economy will become more efficient after a period of about 2 years. And so I think what that means is here we have an inefficient economy. It says factory output minus 20%, dockyard output minus 20%. And so after about 2 years, that'll get reduced by about 10%, because if you see here, economic devolution, it says it modifies the inefficient economy by blah, blah, blah. It increases it by 10%. So instead of being minus 20%, it'll be minus 10%. But I notice if you don't do this right away, if you leave it for a while, this will say removes inefficiency in economy. So after about a couple years, we'll lose 10% production output kind of thing, penalty from our inefficient economy. So if we go this way, we'll always have that 10% production penalty for our output. Whereas this way, we can get rid of it entirely. So in a way, this is a bit of a short-term game with just our 3 research bonuses for industry, whereas this will always give us a factory construction bonus. And so in a way, and the kind of the way I think is this will give us something that this doesn't. Okay, so this will give us a unique bonus that we can't get anywhere else. This will give us a research bonus, but eventually we'll research those technologies anyways. And I guess this way it does make our economy a little bit more efficient and get rid of the output penalty. So I think this does have a place, but I just don't think the bonus is good enough to offset the production bonus that we lose from the inefficient economy. So typically I do go for this one. The communists openly talk about remodeling the economic structure of our country in some radical way of depriving the hardworking man of his rightful property. Against this, we will set the simple notion of freedom. A dynamic economy will always outperform a leftist nightmare of strangulating red tape. Okay, so we'll start that. Leadership purges in the Soviet Union. Henri Girard falls ill. That's interesting. Well, it's only for a month, and it's more of an issue if we're at combat, we lose his abilities for a month. But I didn't know that could happen when you're not in combat, so I guess not sure where Henri Girard is. Okay. Alright, so we shipped him off to Syria, and he fell ill from some disease that apparently... Oh, and we should also start getting our divisions. I don't necessarily want to get these guys practicing or exercising, I guess is the term, yet, because we'll run low on fuel. I'd much rather get our planes up and doing exercises so that they're not so green. Actually, I should get rid of them. I like setting them on day just because I think there is a small percentage of accidents that happen, and I think if they're flying at night, that percentage increases by amount. So I at least early on, I like them just setting just at night or exercising during the day. Okay, Otto assumes the Hungarian crown. So Hungary is going the monarchist route, so eventually or soon we'll see them join up with Austria there. Finished our laissez-faire. Okay, now we do want to get down here and join up with Italy, but I still want to. We do have our research going, so I think I'll just select this one here, get our stability up, because also one of our penalties is this disjointed government, so we lose 0.8 from our political power, and since we only start with 2, one of them is being taken up by researching the focus, so we're only getting a small amount of political power per day. Okay, and the Spanish Civil War is triggered off. Now this is interesting because they changed how the civil wars work, really, and so the Spanish Civil War is a lot more dynamic now. Well, I say that in a way. Typically alternate factions spring up, so it'll be interesting to see. It's a bit more random. The nationalists don't always win this now. Sometimes I've seen the anarchists win. The monarchists don't typically win. I think it's a bit harder for them. They probably have less divisions. So, they're fighting in the sea there. Okay, so we got our modern plane. Actually, I want to try using strategic bombers, so I'm going to research these. And also, I should get an intelligence agency. I'll stick with the Deuxième Bureau. I'm not sure exactly what the history of that, but I don't know. I'll trust the developers enough that the Deuxième Bureau is somehow historical for France here. Okay, so it looks like the Germany Civil War is going well for the monarchists. It should just be maybe a few more months, although it does tend to bog down around here. They tend to run out of momentum. But yeah, I played a few games in the Spanish Civil War, and it is interesting. It does take a lot longer because they have this penalty that you have to get rid of. I can't remember the name, but it really reduces the attack strength of divisions attacking, and so then after the borders kind of stabilize here, then it really just bogs down until people start losing manpower in like the second or third year, and so you have to kind of attrition them out and then wait till they lose manpower before you can really do many offensives. So okay, we got our agency created. We'll be able to recruit our first spy soon. And I have to admit, I haven't had much luck with my spies. Typically when I play them as France, if I set them into Germany or Italy, they get captured or even killed really quickly. So we'll have to see how it goes. I might not do much with spies in this game. Okay, and so we do have this intervention in Spain, which unlocks these decisions, which I'm kind of curious. But I saw in another playthrough, basically, I think it just we can prevent other people from intervening. So I don't know. We can't really help out in Spain, but I'm not terribly concerned which way Spain will go. I guess, in certain ways we might have to end up fighting them. But since there are so many other focuses I want to get done, this is kind of superfluous for me right now. So I'll get protect the rights of man. They may never say it openly, but it is obvious to anyone with eyes to see. Curtailing the right to property is just the first step to eliminating all the rights our proud ancestors fought so hard for. We will not have it. So this is, again, anti-communist rhetoric, basically. So we gain more stability for getting this, which will be nice. So actually, we're not losing too much fuel right now. U.S. Congress passed the Neutrality Act. I think I have the U.S. just set on a random route, so they'll probably fall into a civil war soon. Okay, we got our concentrated industry, and we got our bonuses. So probably would have been good to save this for when we got this bonus, but we're only 39 days out. We can use this for construction, and we've also finished up with a lot of our construction here. So can't quite start building our refineries. I'll get these fuel silos just so we can store as much fuel as we can, but then I'll start working on our military factories there. And I guess, again, as I said, I think it basically takes 5 weeks, I think, for a full production line of to complete one stretch of infrastructure. So it's not really that much of a penalty to wait. And so if you get it, okay, we can actually, all right. So let's pause it here. Have a look. Okay, tough until extraction. So when they get captured, it'll take longer for them to give up our secrets. A linguist I like because if you send them into other nations, I think they can blend in better. More tough one, infiltrator. So I think I'll try getting the linguist. And I'll try setting them into Italy. See what we can do there. Again, it'll take a while to set up. So I haven't quite, as I said, since my spies don't last very long, I haven't really been able to use them much. Like I can. Well, we'll see. Okay, so the German Civil War ends. So they'll go down their route here, reviving the Kaiserreich. Now I'm kind of hoping that they go up against Britain here. if they ally with Britain, might be also interesting. Okay, so we got our synthetic refineries. So here, it's best to use your research bonuses on the expensive techs, because basically you're going to save more. You save more if you have 100% bonus on a tech that takes 100 days rather than one that'll take us 60 days. Then you cut that down to 50 days as opposed to 30 days. So typical, just simple economics there. Okay, so during the, where was it held? In undamaged parts have devastated a newly rebuilding Berlin, Germany. Okay, I wonder if that's because, yeah, I'm not sure if because they were in a civil war during the Olympics there, I think. Okay, protect the rights of man. So now we can start going down here where we get extra civilian factories, but I'm going to pause there and go down this rearmament route just to get those extra military factories. Okay, Polish, Romania, and I think that's just when Poland, yeah, goes down their faction. They haven't agreed to it yet, so. Okay, got construction. Okay, and then 50 days. These are all 50 days. Yeah, might as well get the machine tools, because that increases the cap, because for now we're at 60%, so getting it up to 70% will just help us produce. Alright, so we got, did we have a fighter? I think we did. No, we had a naval bomber. Just gonna hide these for now. Okay, we no longer have the effects of devalued franc, so we get our stability back up, which is nice, but we do lose that civilian, and we want heavy tanks. So, and actually, because we're going to get those 4 bonus military factories, and we should be starting, yeah, we're starting to build our military factories here. It's so nice being a major and having like multiple. I'm used to just having like 6 or 7 civilian factories starting out. So, okay, yeah, these guys are still the guys in or sub-Saharan Africa, I guess I could call them. I guess I could make that theater or whatever.
Attention.
So, okay, there we go. Okay, you go in there. Okay, now we got, must have gotten that, so I'm not, like, we do need excavation for our resources here, but the only one we really need, at least kind of early on, may be the rubber. So I'm not, don't think we need, I think it'd be better if we get one of these. Alright. Okay, so we got this one now. Typically I go for Captain of Industry. I do want to get a theorist, a military theorist actually, because we do want to change, or we want to put heavy tanks into our divisions. But honestly, I think just getting Captain of Industry, because we want to build all of these. We want to build infrastructure, we want to build civilian factories, and we want to build refineries. So getting those done. Alright, so, okay. You can also start here on some of our Well, we'll get radio just because that is just a static buff. We got our strategic bombers. Alright, so I want to start. I like researching the doctrines just because they give just bonuses. You don't have to build anything. You don't have to research it. Well, you have to research the doctrine, but you don't have to integrate it into your army anyway. It's just the static bonuses. So don't have much research. We can't, cheapify it by this. Okay, these are actually stop. Mexico junta declared war on Mexico. This is something I'm not sure. Did Mexico go through a civil war during this period? And it's just not brought up much. I do want to and actually I can increase those guys and set them on to just practicing in the daylight. It's always nice to have your planes, fighter, and tactical bomber. Okay, so we got begin rearmament. Oh, the 20-year armistice Marshal Foch predicted in 1919 is rapidly coming to an end, and the world is looking increasingly likely to erupt into war in the next few years. Must be ready. Alright, so now we have a few choices. We can continue down here, because I think this is really nice, because this gives us research speed bonus, efficiency cap bonus, efficiency growth bonus. So getting down this, and it only requires one of these, so we could get this. But as I said, I do want to get down here. This is always nice, but it is just getting manpower really, so I think this should be the next one. We get the Continental Order that was established in 1919 looks increasingly under threat. It is time that we review our foreign policy options to secure new alliances to weather the coming storm. Alright. So that'll give us more political power. Oh, and the Hindenburg goes down. Austria votes to unite with Hungary. Okay. Okay, and we are getting more. So I'll actually start building strategic bombers. I doubt they're the most effective way, but I don't know. I just want to bomb something. So, when we go to war with Germany or Britain, we'll have bombers and heavy tanks take quite a bit to build, so I need more of that. And those, if we want to just build more infantry divisions, we'll need more equipment and artillery, because those are already built in. So get that working. No template for our heavy tanks, that's fine for now. Tactical bombers. And if we use strategic bombers, I'm not so sure if we have a role for tactical bombers. We'll have to see. Wait and see, I guess. So we're still got to get our equipment, our efficiency up here, because I think eventually at a point we'll fill up all of this reinforcement backlog and start producing extras. So looks like Republican Spain is doing okay, but we don't know when those other factions will pop up. I think there's a way, if you're playing Republican Spain, there are focuses where you can preemptively stop them from appearing, but it's kind of tricky to. Oh, that's already up to 100%. Oh, but Amelia Earhart survives. That's always nice to see. So then. Get a few more. Probably should build a few more. Oh, we can actually start building refineries now. No, hold on here. Oh, I thought. No, there it is. 100%. So just put them in the center of the country, because I'm not sure what'll happen with Belgium. We might get invaded by Britain along the coast here. Review foreign policy. Alright, so now we can alternate with something else. Would really be nice to get there. What bonus do we get here? We just get potential advisor. Okay. So I'm going to try to go for this one here. I'll still alternate, but I want to. I'll go and try to go. Oh, and when we got our bonus, so I'm actually going to improve worker conditions. I think I calculated. Okay, yeah, it's going to reduce our factory output, but we will get about 10% increase of stability. So we'll go to from about 60 to about 70. So that'll certainly help us. Even with our political power, our output, everything will benefit from having higher stability. So, it's been about an hour. Okay, kind of hoping to get a little bit further. I'll probably just try to do a couple more focuses. Okay, got our oil processing, and so we pretty much finished up the industry for 1937. Still not sure about scout planes. We could start working on our ships, but okay, we might as well start working on our. Now it is a bit of hindrance having only 3 slots. It would be nice they're in the industry. Oh, we actually finished up. We can go down and get a couple research slots from there. Okay, we finished our radio. So let's actually research something for our ships. And I don't know. I'm not sure if damage control helps a whole lot, but I don't know. It is something I want to. I like having resilient ships, so although I hardly use them at all, but it's kind of my style. So okay, we are gaining army experience, getting up to 10, so we can. Well, okay, change these. Now this will really reduce because we definitely don't have enough tanks to. Fill those out, 300 tanks, and we're only building one a week, so we're definitely going to need more there. Okay, Carlist Spain declared war on Spain, nationalist Spain. It's interesting they don't call it Republican Spain anymore. Oh, and also the anarchists. Okay, wow, the anarchists have a lot of territory. Usually they're just limited to this small corner of Spain, but so that basically jumbles the mix up. Everybody loses division, so suddenly you have big gaps in your front lines. But yeah, see, Carlist Spain just has a small territory. Okay, restoration of Austria-Hungary. So now they're not Hungary anymore, they're just Austria-Hungary. Okay, we got the Freedom Fund. Oh, did I say this? Okay, when faced with the chaos and upheaval, the communists promise one must be willing to make alliances with other parties, even those that one might find personally reprehensible. Okay, so protests descend into violence, and I think this is because, well, we have that political violence. So, lose stability to gain increase in communism, or lose political power. So, now, communist is a fair amount of large chunk, so I don't necessarily want to give them more. And, we have to work so hard to gain our stability, I don't want to lose it, so I'm just going to lose the political power. Now, maybe political power is worth more than stability, I'm not sure, but I don't know. Okay, so how is our... Okay, so we still have the inefficient economy at 20%. Oh, shoot, national focus, forgot that. So we're going to continue down here, buy time. we'll get a new political advisor here who does increase stability, but it reduces war support, and that will probably lower us past the threshold. We have to go back to civilian economy, so we probably won't put him in unless, so you know, he's an interesting option. See him here, I think. No, humble appeaser. So he's only 75. So if we are, you know, losing stability, like if we're in a war or something, we can put him in to boost it up. Oh, the anarchists got taken out already. So it looks like nationalist Spain might pull through here. Okay, so we got our first one here. Interception and ace generation. I wish I knew what kind of bonus actually. So we're not there. Oh shoot! We should actually, yeah, could increase our. Okay, so I'll go to buy time. We'll continue watching the Spanish Civil War here. So now that the Carlists hung in there, it'll probably take quite a bit of effort to dig them out. So I imagine this is where, like, if the Nationalists spend too much energy trying to take out the Carlists, that'll allow the Republicans to beat them out. Okay, Spain requests aid. Now this is another thing. We lose political power. Communism gets a bonus. So, I don't know, I think we just cannot risk our own political stability to aid them. I think that just allows us to give them Lend-Lease to the Republicans, I think. Well, I guess. It's interesting that they're Democratic. Wonder if they're going down the route where you can... Like, there is actually a route where Spain, or Republican Spain, gets puppeted by the Soviet Union, which could be interesting, and then you'd have to try to fight your way to freedom kind of thing against the Soviet Union. Okay, so this is kind of the main thing. Italy will get a war goal against Yugoslavia, so that might kick off the war if we're allied with them and they call us in. As well, you know, they might not be willing to join our faction if they're at war. I'm not quite sure how the bonuses will go with that. Here, now I always like getting the these support bonuses. Now I probably take a lot of support equipment here. That's why it's always nice to have, you know, building support equipment, because, you know, you might need a lot of it with all of your support battalions you add on. Okay, we are not ready to face the Germans in the field. Our allies are weak, our military is outdated. Might have to make some sacrifices if we want to survive. Okay, so this will allow us to go down here. We get more political power, and then we could get guaranteed by the Soviet Union. So if you're really afraid of Germany, that'll be a nice kind of tie-in. As well, it's nice, I guess, if you want to fight Germany, you can get that with the Soviet Union. So if Germany attacks the Soviet Union, you can come in to attack Germany. But basically, we want to go down this route to become an ally with Italy. That sounds really strange, but I think it could be an interesting game. But I'm afraid that's it for the first episode. You know, no wars, or, well, I guess we watched a couple civil wars, but basically this was just us building up our industry. Hopefully next episode we'll ally with Italy. We might get pulled into Yugoslavia, and who knows, it might, like, we might get pulled into a war against Britain if Yugoslavia joins the Allies, or, you know, Italy could attack Greece, which allies with Britain. So next episode, you know, hopefully something will get started, but I hope you will join me for that. Thank you and goodbye.